Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this quick and easy bag. You can make this bag any size you want. You can add a strap or a handle, or you can just leave it as a clutch bag. So for my bag I used a 4mm crochet hook and US terms. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is you want to work a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, you take the yarn and wrap the yarn around your finger once and then twice. Then take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, and then take the second loop and pull it all the way over your finger. And then take your crochet hook and insert it through this loop and pull tight. And there you have a slip knot. So once you have your slip knot, we are now going to work our foundation chain. And your foundation chain is going to determine how wide your bag is. So the longer that you make your foundation chain, the wider your bag will be. And you can chain however long you want, but it must be a multiple of 6. So for me, I'm going to chain 42. And when I chain 42, my bag should work out at about 8 or 9 inches wide. So I'm going to chain 42, but you can chain however long you want, as long as it is a multiple of 6. So multiple of 6. Okay, so once you have your foundation chain, we can now move on to row 1, and you want to check that your foundation chain is wide enough. If not, you can add an extra 6 or an extra 12 until your bag is wide enough. Okay, so to begin row 1, you want to chain 2. So chain 2, 1 and 2, and this is going to create our turning chain. So once you have chained 2, you want to work 1 single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain from the hook, and here is the second, and into this stitch you want to work a single crochet. So to do a single crochet, you insert your hook through the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook, and that is 1 single crochet. So once you have done that, so that was 1 single crochet into the second chain from the hook, you want to skip the next 2 stitches. So we just worked into this stitch, and you can see it slightly pulled up, and you want to skip the next 2, so skip this one and this one. And into this next chain, we want to work a set of stitches, and this set is going to be 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and another double crochet, all into the same stitch. So to do that, you want to skip the next 2 stitches, and we're going to start off with a double crochet. So you want to yarn over and go into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 more, and that is 1 double crochet. And then you want to chain and then work a second double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, work a double crochet like that, chain again, and then work a third double crochet into the same stitch. So double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, all into the same stitch. So once you have done that set of stitches, you now want to skip the next 2 stitches. So skip the next one and the next one, and then into the next one, the third one along from which we just worked in, you want to work a single crochet into this stitch. So go into the stitch and work a single crochet. And you want to repeat this all the way along. So you want to work a single crochet, skip 2 stitches, into the next stitch work double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet. Then skip 2 stitches, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, and then double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain. So keep going and repeating this all the way along our foundation chain. So we've done a single crochet, and we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then into the next one work double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain. So I've worked a double crochet, I'm going to chain, work another double crochet, then I'm going to chain again and work a third double crochet like that. And then I'm going to repeat this again, skip 2 stitches and then do a single crochet into the next one, skip 2, and then into the next one along, work double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet. And then again, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, and then our double crochet, chain, set. And do this all the way along for row 1. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end, and I've worked my final double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet. I'm going to skip my last 2 stitches and work a final single crochet into the very last stitch. And once you've done that, we are done with row 1, and we can now move on to row 2. Okay, so to begin row 2, we want to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 and turn. And our chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain. So a double crochet and a chain. So once we have chain 4, we now want to work a double crochet into the very first stitch. So into this stitch here, and this is the last single crochet of last row, we want to work a double crochet into this stitch. So technically into this stitch we have worked a double crochet, chain, double crochet, and instead we've just worked 4 chains and a double crochet. So you now want to skip the next double crochet and the next chain space and into the top of the next double crochet, so the center of our cluster here. So the center of the cluster of the stitches here, or the center of the shell. So into this middle one here, you want to work a single crochet into this stitch. So skip the double crochet and chain space and into the next stitch, or the center double crochet from the cluster before, work a single crochet into this stitch, just like that. So once you have done that single crochet, you now want to skip the next chain space and the next double crochet, so that's the last chain space and double crochet of the shell, and then into the single crochet from last row. So into this stitch down here, you want to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So the same set of stitches as we did last row. And from now on, we're going to call that set of stitches a shell. So whenever I say work a shell, I mean work double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So we're going to skip the last chain space and double crochet, and into the single crochet from last row, we are going to work a shell. So that is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. It's the exact same as last row. Chain 1, double crochet, and you want to work all of those stitches, that shell, into the single crochet from last row. So once you have done that, you now want to skip the next double crochet and chain 1 space of the shell from last row. So here is the shell from last row, and we're going to skip the first double crochet and chain 1. And into the center double crochet, or the middle of the shell, we want to work a single crochet into the top of this stitch, like that. And this is what we want to do all the way along for row 2. Into each single crochet from the row before, we are going to work a shell, which is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then into the top of each shell from last row, we want to work a single crochet. So you've done a single crochet, so now we are going to skip these stitches and then into the single crochet from last row, work another shell. So work double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, like this. And work all of that into the single crochet, and then into the top of the next shell, or into the second double crochet of the shell from the row before, work a single crochet, like that. And keep repeating this: shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, all the way along. So just keep repeating this for row 2. So there's a shell, and then we're going to work a single crochet into the second double crochet of the next shell, and then work another shell into the single crochet. Shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of row 2, and this is what you should have. And at the end, I have worked my final single crochet into the middle of the last shell. But to finish this off, what I want to do is work half a shell into the single crochet from last round. So half a shell consists of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And if you remember right back at the beginning of this row, we did chain 4 and then a double crochet. And that counted as double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And we're going to do that at the end of this row. So here is our last single crochet, and into this stitch you want to work half a shell. So that's double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and go into the stitch and work a double crochet. Then I'm going to chain 1 and work a second double crochet into this stitch. And once you have done that, that is row 2 completed, and we are now ready to move on to row 3. So once you have done that, we are now on to row 3. And to begin row 3, you want to chain 1 and turn. And our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So what you want to do then is you now want to work a single crochet into the very first stitch. So this very first stitch here, and this is the last double crochet from last row. You want to go into the stitch, this is the very first stitch, and work a single crochet like that. So once you have done that, you now want to skip the next chain 1 space and the double crochet. So you were skipping the half shell that we made at the end of last row, and you are going to go to the single crochet that we did. So here is a single crochet from last row, and into this stitch we want to work a shell, and that is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So you want to work a shell into that single crochet. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, all into that single crochet. And this row is practically the same as row 2. You are going to work a shell into each single crochet. So you're going to do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into each single crochet, and then work a single crochet into the top of each shell. So we've just worked a shell into the single crochet, and we're now going to skip the first part of the next shell, so the first double crochet and chain 1, and then into the center double crochet here we're going to work a single crochet, and this is just like last row. And then we're going to skip the final chain 1 and double crochet of the shell, and into the single crochet from last row work another shell, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into the single crochet. And just repeat this all the way along for this row. Single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell. So I'm going to then work, so I've just done a shell, so I'm now going to work a single crochet, and now I've done a single crochet, so I'm now going to work a shell into the single crochet of last round, and just keep repeating this all the way for row 3. So I'm just coming to the end of row 3. I've worked my final shell, and to finish this row I want to work a final single crochet into the third chain of the chain 4 that we did last row. So 1, 2, 3, and into this third chain I'm going to work my final single crochet to finish row 3. Like that. Okay, so once we have done that, and that's rows 1, 2 and 3, for the rest of this pattern you purely and simply want to repeat rows 2 and 3 and just keep repeating them. So we've just done row 3, and you now want to do row 2 again, and then row 3, then row 2, then row 3, then row 2, then row 3, and you want to keep repeating this all the way along to create the pattern. And you want to keep repeating this all the way along until your piece of work measures approximately 10 inches long. So just keep repeating and you can go back in the video and re-watch row 2 and 3 over and over again if you want. So I've done row 3 and I'm moving back on to row 2. So I want to chain 4 and turn. Row 2 always begins with chain 4 and row 3 always begins with a chain 1. So we've chained 4 and I'm now going to work a double crochet into the same stitch, and this counts as double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And now I'm just going to work a single crochet into the top of the first shell and then work a shell into the next single crochet. And row 2 and row 3 are very simple. They just start in slightly different ways and end in slightly different ways. So it's really quick and easy and shouldn't take you very long at all. So I've done a shell, and then I'm going to do a single crochet and then another shell, then another single crochet, and keep doing this all the way along for row 2, and then we are going to repeat row 3 and then row 2 and then row 3 and then row 2 and keep doing this. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of repeating row 2 and I've done a final single crochet, and now I'm going to work a half a shell. That's double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet into the final single crochet of last row, like that. And then that is row 2 completed and repeated. And now I'm going to begin repeating row 3 again. To begin row 3, you only chain 1 and turn. You then work a single crochet into the very first stitch because our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And then into the first single crochet of this row here, you want to work a shell. That's double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Like that, and then work a single crochet into the top of the next shell, and keep repeating this: shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, all the way along for row 3, and then just keep repeating it. Then row 2 again, then row 3, then row 2 again, then row 3, until your work is approximately 10 inches long. Okay, so you just want to continue doing that all the way along and just keep repeating rows 2 and 3. And once you've done that, this is what you should have. And by now your work should measure around about 10 inches. But when you're on your very last row, it's important that you end on row 3. So do not end on a row 2. The last row that you work should be row 3. And once you have come to your final row, so you've decided that you are going to work your final row and it is a row 3, we are going to work our buttonhole halfway across working this row. Okay, so what you want to do is continue working row 3 as normal for the last row, but when you get to approximately the center of your row, so the middle of your row, we are going to work a buttonhole. So what I did, which might be easiest, is you want to count how many shells there will be in a row 3. So for me, I chained 42 at the very beginning and I have 7 shells across. So there are 7 of these bumps. So I know that the center of my row is going to be on the 4th bump along. So 3 either side, or the 4th shell. So I've worked 3 shells and I've done my single crochet. So I did shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet. And I'm about to work my 4th shell, and this is in the center of my row. And I'm going to go in as usual and work a double crochet into the single crochet, just like we would with a normal shell. And I'm going to chain 1, just like we have been doing. But I'm not going to work my next double crochet. Instead, I'm going to replace my double crochet with a chain. And then I'm going to do a chain and then work a final double crochet. So all I have effectively done here is replace the center double crochet of the shell with a chain. So instead of doing double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, I've done double crochet, chain, 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 double crochet, and this creates this loop here, which is a buttonhole. And once I've done that, I can just continue on as normal, repeating row 3 for the last row of my bag. So just continue on, continue to do shells as normal, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, until you get to the end. Once you've completed your last row, which is a row 3, this is what you should have. So you should have your rows going across and your buttonhole in the center. And once you have done that, we have finished crocheting, and now we are just going to sew our bag together. So fasten off your end and leave a tail so that we can weave that in later. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to fold your work, and you need to decide how high up you want to fold it. So for me, I have folded it this far up, and that means that I can fold my flap down, and this is how big my flap is going to be, approximately 2 inches. Now if you want a longer flap and you want your flap to come down longer, or a shorter one like this, then you can do that. You can do whatever you want, but for me this is what I'm going to do. And I'm actually going to secure my bag using stitch markers. You don't have to do this, or you can use pins, but I'm just going to place stitch markers through either side just to secure it, but you don't have to do this if you don't want. So this is what I have done. I've just secured a stitch marker on either side just to keep my bag in place, and you want to make sure that it's straight. You can line it up using the stitches and make sure that it is straight, and once you have got it the way you want it, we can start sewing our bag together. So to begin sewing our bag together, you want to take a spare piece of thread and you want to tie a couple of knots like this to make sure that it's extra secure, like that. You then want to take a sewing needle, so a thicker sewing needle with a blunt edge, or just any sewing needle you want, and thread your sewing needle. And it's important to make sure that you are either using the same yarn as you did your bag in, or use the same colour so that you can't see it. And you want to go in as far down to the bottom as possible, and you want to go in through the inside like this, right at the bottom stitch, and pull your yarn through. And this is what you should have. You should have your yarn that you're going to sew your bag up with going through, and the knot will stop it coming through all the way. And to sew your bag up, it's really easy. You want to go in through one stitch and then go across to the other side and go on to the exact opposite stitch, and make sure that you're going into the same stitch just on the opposite side, and pull your yarn through and pull tight. Then go into the next stitch here, go through this stitch, and then go onto the same stitch but on the opposite side over there, and pull your yarn through and pull tight like that. And just keep doing this all the way along, in through the next stitch and then into the same stitch but on the opposite side. Go through, pull your yarn through, and pull tight. Same stitch, so next stitch, and go on to same stitch on the opposite side and pull your yarn through. And this is going to be sewing your sides up, and you want to do this all the way along. So once you've done that all the way up, you have sewn your side up, and when you come to the end, make sure you go all the way to the end and then just go over some of the stitches and do them 2 or 3 times over to make sure that they are extra secure at the end. If you want to make sure that it is super secure. You can go all the way back down and redo it, and then fasten off and do the exact same thing on the opposite side to sew up the other side of your bag. Okay, so I just finished sewing up both sides of my bag, and I've attached a button, and you need to make sure that the button lines up with the buttonhole. And once you've done that, you have finished. Now if you want, you can make a fabric lining for your bag, or you can add a handle or a strap, or do whatever you want. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please subscribe to my channel for more quick and easy crochet videos. And thanks again. Bye!